Welcome to Untold Horrors. I'm Jamie.
I'm Patrick.
And I'm Steph.
This is the podcast where we mine the depths of Tubi in search of buried treasure.
We are here to sacrifice our free time and likely our sanity, so you don't have to.
Each week, we fire up Tubi, spin the roulette of despair, and let its keyword search decide our fate.
Is it a hidden gem, a misunderstood masterpiece, or a flaming garbage heap wrapped up in VHS nostalgia?
Join us as we laugh, scream, and occasionally question our life choices.
One obscure horror flick at a time.
Who will survive?
And what will be left of us?
Untold Horrors, because Tubi's algorithm has no mercy, and neither do we. So let the roulette spin, and let the suffering
And let the suffering
begin.
Untold Beginnings.
It's time now for Untold Beginnings. This is where we each take turns answering 3 questions. What have you been watching? What else have you been doing? And what's on your horror radar? All right, so let's start with a very brief discussion of anything that you've watched in the past couple of weeks since our last episode that really stood out to you, any highlights or lowlights, if you will, that you want to bring up. Jamie, do you want to start?
Sure. I recently finally got to see Hack-O-Lantern, a Halloween horror movie from 1988. And I have a goal to see or buy as many best of the worst Red Letter Media movies as possible. And this was a hilarious episode, and I finally got to see it.
Awesome. What about you, Patrick? Anything stand out for you?
No, I haven't watched anything new. I'm waiting for Heretic to read. Yes.
What do you do with your life? Do you have a life? Do you actually go out and do things? Because that's fucking crazy.
I have. I've actually been engaging in trivia night.
Ooh.
At the local tavern. I've been all this useless information that rattles around in my head. I've been putting to good use now. I did start reading Grady Hendrix's new book, Witchcraft for Wayward Girls.
Oh, cool. I've heard good things. Are you enjoying it?
So far, it's Grady Hendrix. He's become my favorite author. And he's amazing to me.
He is a word master.
And if you ever get a chance to see one of his one-man shows and meet him for a signing, I encourage you to do it because he is the best.
Well, as for me, so I have a couple of other podcasts that I do. I have one called Guilty Pleasures and one called No Notes. And they're basically polar opposites. Guilty Pleasures is where we talk about bad films, and No Notes is where we talk about perfect films. So in preparation for those podcasts, for Guilty Pleasures, I watched a movie called The Apple, which is a musical from 1980. And it is the most insanely bananas thing I've ever seen in my life. And I love the shit out of it. My 2 co-hosts could not have hated it more. And we got into a pretty heated debate about the merits of this film. But when I watched it like 5 times in a row. After I watched it, I couldn't get enough. I was sort of gobsmacked and bewildered and bedazzled. So I don't know. I had a blast with that one. And then for No Notes, I watched this was my pick this month, and I picked Shin Godzilla. I'm freaking obsessed with Godzilla, and Shin Godzilla is mind-blowingly good. And I was trying to choose between -1 and Shin, but I think -1 gets a lot more love, so I went with Shin, and I haven't talked about that one. I talk about it in a couple of days, but I'm super excited.
I scour all the big streaming sites for all the horror, and I click on everything. Checklist. What's it called? Queue. Put it in the queue. I am going to stop doing that until I watch every single movie. And I am diving in. I am totally going to do that.
Patrick, you're not watching movies either. Like, is there anything that you're excited about?
The Monkey.
Me too. I'm really into The Monkey.
I love the short story, and I know they've changed it, but yeah, I can't wait.
Jamie, no one is paying me to do this air quotes job that you speak of. It's my passion to watch movies.
Okay, well, that's so you're employing yourself. My point is, you have to watch movies. I mean, to criticize
who's
us
making
for
me
not
though?
watching movies.
I will add that I have been bringing back something that I used to do on morbidlybeautiful.com, which is these horror personality quizzes. I have been getting obsessed with them, and I just released one for Valentine's Day, and I've got one coming up from President's Day that I'm really into, and I'm working on one for March Madness where you can find out who would coach your horror basketball team. So that's just a little something that I'm doing that's wildly entertaining for me and probably only me, but that's okay.
Me being the music enthusiast that I am, I finally get to use my music knowledge and apply it to a podcast. Every episode, I'm going to be making a playlist similar or relating to the movie that we're watching. It may or may not have the same title of the movie, but the link will always be in the playlist or in the post. And I really encourage you to do this because I am a playlist fucking artist and I do this all the time. It is a hobby, and I guarantee you're going to spot some music that you've never heard before.
Untold Fate.
All right, guys, it is time to spin the Tubi Wheel of Terror and find out what our untold fate holds. We're going to recap what is currently on the wheel. We have got folk horror, true horror, werewolves, hospital horror, animal horror, dolls, demons, found footage, and monster horror. Now, last week, the wheel landed on slaughter, so I have plucked that one off the wheel, and I have chosen to replace that with gore. Jamie, do you want to hold the wheel, or do you want to make a substitution?
Hold.
All right, perfection. I'm glad you had all those papers for that. And Patrick, what about you?
Make a substitution.
Okay, what are we subbing?
Take out true horror and replace with hammer horror.
True
I'm
horror?
I'm so sorry. Did I not tell you that you couldn't replace the ones that I added?
Huh.
Did I
don't
miss
think
that
that's a
part
real
of the
rule.
rules?
Yeah.
Yikes.
You didn't state it.
This is
so-
awkward and embarrassing. All right.
Patrick, if
Well,
you
I'm
need
gonna let it go.
if you need some therapy after dealing with the actual real Stephanie, I can help you out. You know.
I appreciate it.
Wow. All right, awesome. So the wheel has landed on werewolves. Now, if you guys don't mind, let's go ahead and go to Tubi and open up that search bar and enter werewolves into it. I'm going to go ahead and start the timer now. Start the timer. We're going to have 60 seconds to pick a selection. 3, 2, 1, go. Okay. Time is up. Jamie, what do you got for us?
Wolfsbane.
Tell us about it.
2009, 1 hour 32 minutes. When a vampire clan seeks to restore ancient evil, a posse of vampire hunters led by Jacob Van Helsing and a newly turned werewolf must stop them. It's from familiar names here, Mark Dacascos and Yancey Butler.
All right, Patrick, what did you pick?
I picked the 2010 movie Dylan Dog, Dead of Night. This film follows the adventures of a supernatural private investigator, Dylan Dog, who seeks out the monsters of the Louisiana Bayou. And it stars Brandon Routh.
All right. And I have selected the 2016 horror film Fang. A bloodthirsty creature haunts the valleys of the Brada County. A lone sheriff and an environmental consultant race to solve the mystery. So what do we think? What do we want to talk about?
I think Wolfsbane sounds a little bit too much like recycled Underworld storylines.
It does.
Yeah.
It does.
But Fang sounds interesting. And
It has a
Dylan Dog
pretty
has
cool
some
cover.
star power behind it. Yeah, it does.
What star is Dylan Dog hot?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Well, Brandon Routh.
fairly.
Who is that? I'm sorry.
Return of Superman.
He was Superman. Superman Returns.
Yeah, Return of, yeah.
Oh, shit.
Man
Let me
Returns.
look at this poster. Hold on. Now, is this gonna? Here's my concern, and I'm concerned with my pick as well. I'm concerned we're picking good films, and
After last choice.
yeah, no, that was like good film, but a different kind of good. You know, like these might be like real films.
Mm-hmm.
Could I change my pick to Werewolves on Wheels?
Maybe. What's Werewolves on Wheels?
Okay, I'll change my pick to Werewolves on Wheels. It's from
That's a maybe.
1971. A biker gang refuses to sacrifice a male rider to devil-worshipping monks, but she's been possessed anyway and turns into a werewolf every night.
We have a
that
winner.
does sound pretty good. Yeah.
Something weird used to own it. So I'm thinking that
Okay.
that's a good pedigree.
Okay, so the way that the bonus pick works is we go down to the you may also like for this film. And first one to shout something out gets the film. 3, 2, 1.
Igor and the Lunatics.
Night of the Werewolf.
The Long Hair of Death.
Yay! We did it!
Now that we have our assignments, let's head off to watch our flicks and return back to discuss the 1971 horror film Werewolves on Wheels. We'll also have 5-word reviews of Night of the Werewolf, The Long Hair of Death, and Igor and the Lunatics, along with our favorite underrated werewolf horror film recommendations.
Untold Fate.
Let's get into it and see if this film takes us on a wild ride or leaves us howling in despair. Now, before we do that, we're going to do a brief dramatic reading from an early scene that sets the stage for the film's events and results in the ensuing hairy adventure. This is a satanic ritual in which an evil monk recites a chant that begins the ceremony.
The shadows are the sails of night. They soon will come to hide the light. Oh, Prince of Darkness, oh Lucifer, I pound with what my evil eye has gleaned. Your children are here. They've eaten your bread and drunk your wine. Already they've spoken of you as divine. Oh Satan, who calls me one, the one who seeks you instead of eternal peace. With a heart on fire and a hole of ice, I come to...
I'm sorry, but you said a hole of ice, and I was like, that's a whole other chant that we got going on.
I did
I was
that on
holding it in
purpose.
until Steph broke.
I did that on purpose. I did that on purpose because I thought it was funny, but I laughed at my own joke. Can I try it again?
Yeah, you can.
Okay, from the beginning.
No, not from the beginning.
Oh, okay. From where?
From with a heart on and a hole of ice.
Oh, okay. Oh, Satan. Okay. I'll be quiet for a second. Oh, Satan, who calls me the one who seeks you instead of eternal peace. With a heart on fire and a soul of ice, I will come to offer you youth and fresh blood.
We must begin in blood, so that we may end in blood. I take this sword clean and new. And in your name, O Lucifer, I perform this act of wanton cruelty. Now that the beast is drained and the cup is filled, I write your unholy name thrice in blood, so that all that are summoned will do your will.
With this staff, freshly cut of hazel wood, I shall draw a circle 3 feet from this altar so that no malignant or unfriendly spirit can enter and do me harm. I leave this break for the bride of Satan and none other. I, one servant of the highest by virtue of his holy name Lucifer, do sanctify unto myself this circumference of blood. From the east, Luther. From the west, Zoth. From the south, Shaget. From the north, Vec.
Warm up.
I take this crown for my proper defense against all who are summoned. Let no one transgress his bond. For the Lord, Satan, has given me the power to avenge any wrong done. For I am one with him. Behold, the bride of Satan!
Oh my god.
That was good. That was pretty good.
Ooh. That's good shit.
Thank you.
Well played.
That's going to be fun to put together.
Yes, it will be. Okay. Yeah, let's get into this thing. I have so many pages of notes on this movie. I do not know where to begin. Yeah, so I guess let's just start from the beginning and like just talk about anything that jumps out at us. It basically starts pretty like there's not like a whole lot going on. It's a whole lot of like motorcycle gang shenanigans.
There's a biker
Cheesy,
kicking his
easy
nose.
writer.
Yeah, there's 4 minutes of just writing in the very beginning of this.
And this kind of droning score. It's
Yes.
repetitive. Actually, I think I wrote down the time of the opening credits.
It's a
It
long
only
time.
seemed longer. It's 2 minutes, 30 seconds. Until the pickup truck shows up. So I timed it until the pickup truck shows up because that's kind of when the quote unquote action begins.
That's when the film quote unquote begins.
Yeah, that's when it kicks off into the really exciting stuff. But it seems a lot longer.
Yeah. And then we get to my favorite thing in a film, which is casual misogyny. Love it. We get introduced to one of the bikers who is a tarot reader, which is such an interesting choice for a biker movie to have one of them be like a spiritual woo-woo tarot reader that they nicknamed Tarot. And he says that one of the girls tries to get him to read her cards, and he's like, I don't like to read them for chicks. And then the leader tells him, he's like, come on, this is my girlfriend. Like, I need you to read her cards. And he adds, besides, it's kind of a woman's trick anyway, isn't it?
The tarot card reading is done at a gas station, which is also apparently a fully functioning bar.
Yes. It's a weird set for sure.
and mercantile.
Yeah, I had to rewind it a few times to be like, where are we? What happened? Did I miss something?
I did this because they beat up the...
Sorry, Jamie, what were you saying?
No, that's okay. What I say is unimportant.
Jesus fucking Christ. Patrick, I'm sorry. What were you saying?
Oh, I was saying to get to the full service bar and gas station, there's a truck that kind of runs them off the road during the opening credits. Mm-hmm. They chase the truck to the gas station, beat up the driver real quick, throw him into the bed of the truck, and then the old man who was with the driver drives off, and then they stay to drink and do tarot card readings.
He's doing a death reading, which is foreshadowing the doom that is about to befall them. Which we are about to get into the doom because the leader yells for everyone to leave. They get on their bikes. They drive into the woods. This is a very weirdly edited film. Like a lot of things happen, and I don't know. For me, I was like, wait, what? And again, I rewound it a lot because I was like, did I miss something? How do we get from here to here? Where are we? What's happening? There's not a lot of connective thread in between scene to scene. But
when they got to the evil monks monastery, I was like, how did they get there? Doesn't tarot lead them there?
Yeah, he does. We don't really know why.
Okay.
I don't think. They go into the woods and suddenly there's a satanic chapel up ahead. We see the monks kind of going up the hillside, and then the monks approach the bikers, who for some reason are all like passed out, laying down on the grass. And they're each carrying an object, and it basically looks like the setup for some kind of black mass.
Bread and wine. If a guy in a cloak just walked up to you with a cup of wine, especially if you were in the woods, I mean, would you drink that wine?
For sure, yeah, 100%.
Maybe if it was the 70s, I actually would drink that wine.
Yeah, like this is
the
cool.
Bikers loved that bread. Wow,
It looked good.
They tore that bread to fucking smithereens. They loved that bread. And they were dunking it in the wine. Ugh, who does that?
Right.
Like a bourgeois Oreo cookie.
Yeah, and then they all
Usually
start
they
just
wash
like,
down the Eucharist with wine.
yes,
That
that's
was a
very
pretty big
Catholic of you to
fucking
say.
Eucharist, though. That was a big fucking Eucharist. That was like the football Eucharist.
Yeah, but it could have been a way to kind of slander the religion by doing a bastardization of the communion process.
Well, that's actually what Satanism is all about.
And then we get this like lead monk who begins to recite a ceremonial prayer as the gang members all pass out. The one that we just did, we just performed for you. And he is carrying a black cat. And I am not very happy during this sequence of what he's saying and the way they're cutting to this cat and the way he's talking about making a blood sacrifice, which he does.
That cat died for a purpose.
This cat is not happy to be there.
No, and rightfully so.
Like, this is not a trained cat. It's like, get me the hell
it's just
out of
somebody's
here.
pet cat. They're like Snuggles can do the scene. It'll be fine. And Snuggles is like, I fucking hate it here. I hate all of you assholes so much.
Get me the fuck out.
Yeah. And they kill the cat, and it's off camera, but you hear the cat screaming, and I was displeased with the Satans at this point. And I'm usually all in with the Satanists, but you sacrifice a lot of things, but not the cute black cat. But anyway, after that fucking shit, the priest drones on and on and on, and he's got these shadow puppets on the wall, and he's pouring the cat's blood into the silver chalice. So then, like, Helen, which is the leader's girlfriend, wakes up while everyone else is passed out, while this, like, ceremony's going on. And she gets up and she starts walking to the chapel. They say, the monk says, "Behold the bride of Satan." And suddenly she's in this white lace dress with a crown of white flowers on her head. And she's running in this, like, artsy slow motion through the dark, which I actually thought was pretty cool. She does some pretty, like, crazy naked dancing with a snake. It's very
That was a long scene.
Yeah. It was a good scene though, right?
It's artsy. I liked it. Yeah. That was a real snake, so that was pretty cool.
It reminded me of From Dusk Till Dawn, little Selma Hayek action.
Yes.
Oh yeah, a little bit, yeah.
I noticed during this ritual, one of the priests had one of those round pieces of bread, and he was hiding his face with it. And he broke it in half, and then he pushed his face in between the pieces and, like, kind of went peekaboo. It's, yeah.
So I think that if memory serves, there's like Helen screams, and then this screaming wakes up her boyfriend, the leader of the gang. And he notices his girlfriend's gone. And so the gang goes to storm the chapel. And they go and they start like punching and beating up these monks.
Totally unappreciative that they had eaten all their bread and wine.
Right. Assholes. And then Helen passes out. The gang carries her out. And now they're driving away. Suddenly she has clothes on and she's awake on the back of the bike. Did I miss something?
Oh, you did. During the fight, the monks are kind of scratching or marking the faces of some of the bikers.
Oh, yes. Yes, you're right. And then somebody's like, what a scary place. And then they say, we're going to go to the desert and get our heads straight. And then we're off to the fucking desert.
Could I just jump in here and say that there's a character in this movie called Movie. His name is, I had the subtitles on. His name is spelled Movie. And all that happens in the movie with this character is various people say, Movie, get up here. Movie, hurry up. Come on. Movie, you're lagging behind. Get up here. And it's just fucking hysterical because I kept thinking like they were talking to the movie itself. Come on, Movie. Come on. And there's one point where Movie disappears and they're all screaming, Movie, where are you?
Yes.
I love movies.
So at this point,
Movie, where are you?
at this point, Helen, who I think is such a great character, she starts interpretive dancing again to music only in her head. No one seems to notice, but she's like going cuckoo around the fire. And then so suddenly she sees the wax figure of a naked woman in the flames that was the same figure from the ritual. She starts screaming her tits off. She runs away from the fire, still screaming. Again, no one seems to give a shit. And then there's this weird ass fucking scene that, I don't know, may have been the best scene in the movie, but it's like so bananas. So they start pretending to be a monk and they're chasing this woman around the fire. And they start doing this weird ass fucking like fake chant. And I wrote down some of the lines and I'm going to read it to you.
Doobla dooblas, how now they go?
All you got to do is say your oobla dooblas and chase some pretty little bride of Satan around the altar. You want me to be a monk? I need some pretty little broad to chase around the altar. Some of this is going to be hard for me to say. She says, ooh, do it to me. Do it to me. Oobla doobla, bride of Satan. Chase me, Satan. I've got the feeling.
Oobla doobla, oobla doo. Oobla doobla, oobla doobla, oobla doobla, bride of Satan. Oobla doobla, bride of Satan. Oobla doobla.
I don't feel it was scripted.
Do you think it was just impromptu?
And I also don't think
think
that was
so.
intimidating either. I think they were just two cute lovers fucking around.
Wait. I need to say something. I need to ask a question, Patrick.
Yes.
I feel like I don't know what is more horrifying. The fact that the scriptwriter wrote that down on paper or the fact that these actors decided that's how they wanted to ad-lib this scene.
My feeling was that the director was like, act like bikers having fun, but making fun of satanic monks. Go. And they just went and did their own thing.
Wow.
And then one of the bikers was probably like, oh, I heard the song on the radio by the Beatles. I'm just going to say that, but didn't really kind of catch the lyrics to the song.
Oobla da, life goes on.
Yes, that's it.
All right. So then Helen and her boyfriend start making out. She leans down and bites him in the neck.
Notice, ladies and gentlemen, there has not yet been a mention of a werewolf or any type of supernatural animal.
So I made a note. 38 minutes in, we get our first sign of a werewolf and our first death scene. That's pretty funny and gnarly, but it's like shadow puppet theater the way they do it. So you're not really seeing much. But this is like the first hint of any werewolfiness in the film. And then the next morning, they discover the bodies. And then basically they discover the bodies. And again, no one gives a shit. Everybody's like, somebody like real casually says, well, I guess all we can do is bury them. Like, they're like,
That's it.
oh, that happened.
Taro cared. Because I wrote down a quote of something he said after the first murders, after everyone is not taking it as seriously as he is. This is the one I like most in the movie. So Tara goes, "You dudes just don't want to see the reality, do you? That was no accident. It was heavy. Somebody is controlling the vibes."
Oh, God.
I was like, what?
Yes. Fucking yes. The way he says the vibes, I'm like, yeah, I love Taro. He is a voice of wisdom in this film. And
The funeral was cool too.
That's one way.
Our brother, our loved one, who we rode with forever, didn't have a good bone in his body, and he hated everybody, just like us. We're fucking rotten, and he was the most rotten among us. I love him. It was great.
so they go to this it's a different gas station, I think, or it might be the same one. Not sure. You think it's the same one?
It's hard to tell.
Well, there's a different guy here, and they have this like crazy ass exchange. And
He is a miracle of cinema.
I did
I loved him.
research that there was a commentary track that I didn't listen to it, but I read the notes about it. And they said that this guy was not a real actor. He was just a real guy who was manning this gas station they pulled into. And they were like, hey, we're here. We're going to film. Do you want to say a few lines? And he basically, speaking of ad libs, he basically ad libbed a ton of shit. And the bikers start laughing during this scene. And they said that those are real laughter. Like they were actually like cracking the fuck up at this guy.
What the hell's going on around here anyway? Isn't this quaint? Try to be nice, and what the hell? It don't pay out here. You guys are lost, aren't you?
Can you tell us how to get back to the highway?
Yeah, just get a parachute and go straight up.
His dentures have fallen out of his mouth. And, enough of you goddamn kids and your city folk and your thingamajigs. Yeah, he was great.
Yeah, so then like we're back on the road. We've got a half hour to go. We still haven't actually seen werewolves. No, because shadows don't count.
Which is an ongoing theme for the movie. You don't really see them really until the end.
Yeah. And Tara once again is trying to be the voice of reason. He says they're in danger. Everyone thinks he's nuts. Adam, who is the leader, they turns to Taro when Taro's like, this is fucked up. We're in danger. He's like, you're a typical goddamn Sag, which is, and then I wrote down that they keep pronouncing Taro as Tara.
Tara. Yeah.
And I was like, nope, that's not how it's done.
Nope. And then there's also a random threesome going on in the back of a van.
Yes.
The van that drives along with the motorcycles.
Because, biker life.
Just because.
With the flopping foot. Boing, boing, boing. I don't know. I love the 70s.
Yeah,
that's
so
going in the trailer.
When we're 60 minutes in, we get another wolf attack. And Adam decides that they have to go back and face the satanic monks. And they got to get their heads back on straight.
And the funny thing is, I still
and not
think
only have we not actually seen an entire werewolf yet, but there's a complete lack of werewolves on wheels.
I
was
100%.
hoping to see actual werewolves on the motorcycles, but we get none of that.
None of it. Yeah.
That was the ballyhoo of movies back then. Like if something wild happens in a movie for like 30 seconds, they'll sell the whole movie on that.
I mean, smart, because we saw Werewolves on Wheels. We're like, fuck yeah, I want to see Werewolves on Wheels. Psych. And you're not gonna. Okay, but finally, we get our first shot of a transformed werewolf. What do we think about this?
I actually think the werewolf makeup was decent.
It looks kind of good, right?
I assume it was like a really low budget.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised. And then we get our one shot that's actually really fucking cool of the flaming motorcycle scene with the werewolf riding.
Yeah, I love that scene. and he's also on fire, and he falls off his bike and starts to drop and roll, and he's rolling and he's rolling, and then he rolls right into the campfire.
As werewolves do.
You didn't notice that? You didn't notice that?
Yeah. No, I did. So they go back to the chapel, the Satanic chapel, and Taro gets inducted into a pact with the devil. And then I have a lot of question marks because the ending baffled me quite a bit. And I would like to hear everyone's interpretations of what the actual fuck happened, if anyone knows.
I don't know.
I think that the monks turned the rest of the bikers into werewolves.
Yes.
And the last shot of them, very dark on the motorcycles, is actually supposed to be them as werewolves driving the motorcycles, but it's shot so darkly, you can't really see them as werewolves. You just see them on the bikes.
Oh, I thought that was a foregone conclusion. So, yeah, that's what I interpreted too. Yeah. I figured the werewolves had to be on the wheels eventually.
Did it look to you that the bikers became the monks and they were like participating in the ceremony?
Fuck yeah. When they were in the ritual room and all the monks turned around and their faces were all the biker faces, but dirty.
And so then does that hint that there's some sort of, is there some sort of cyclical thing happening? Like when they're in this loop?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good catch.
Sure thing, Steph. Whatever you say.
Wow.
So
this movie's a little deeper than I thought.
Yeah, it's got layers, and I am the girl to point out the layers always.
Dumb biker to satanic monk to werewolf biker. Yeah, we got to find the connections there.
Untold Verdict.
All right, so who wants to go first with their 5-word review and whether they think this is a dig or a dud? Jamie, I'll let you go since you were excited. Yeah.
Okay. My 5-word review. Werewolves riding to satanic delight. It's good.
Yes.
I liked it. Yes.
You think it's a dig?
Definitely. It's a dig.
What about you, Patrick?
Are you alive, Patrick?
Okay, my 5-word review was decent concept, deserves a remake.
Ooh.
Yeah.
And I think it's a dig. Like as much as I was kind of mocking it, I kind of liked it.
I also thought it was a dig. I did kind of dig it. Like I had fun with it. I was entertained throughout. Like it's not good, but it's really fun.
Right.
And I'm into it. My 5-word review. Satan, manly bear rolls, vibes. Right?
It's awesome. Yeah.
And then my little bit more snarky one is werewolf bikers. Eventually, kind of.
Untold bonus.
So in addition to our main film that we just finished discussing, we each picked a bonus film that we independently watched. And we're going to go around and we're going to really quickly just say what the film was, the basic plot synopsis, and then you will also give a 5-word review of your film that you watched.
Okay, so my movie was The Long Hair of Death. And the synopsis is, in a 15th century village, which Adele Karnstein is burned at the stake. As the fire closes in, she curses the village and Count Humboldt. Adele's oldest daughter is murdered when she confronts the Count on the true reasoning for the execution. The youngest daughter, Elizabeth, is held at the castle's estate until Adele's bloody revenge can begin. And my 5-word review for this was not Black Sunday, but similar.
My movie was Igor and the Lunatics. Dug up from the moldy VHS boxes of yore, Igor and the Lunatics was a whispered about trauma atrocity back in middle school. A dare, like Full Faces of Death, Day of the Dead, or Extra. Unfortunately, Igor isn't worth the oxygen used to speak those whispers. It's actually a gory, albeit rusty carbon copy of any one of a dozen fictionalized Manson biopics. Igor and his lunatics are actually a small group of the cult's most violent members, and as a side plot, they go on a rampage. And it was terrible in every sense of the word.
Do you have a 5-word review?
Below fi, Manson clone silliness. Not lo-fi, below-fi.
So this was a dud for you?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm very disappointed.
Well, my film is Night of the Werewolf, also known as The Return of the Wolfman. It is a 1981 Spanish horror film that is the 9th in a 12-film series about the werewolf Count Waldemar Wiedenski, played by Paul Naschy. The film was first theatrically released in Spain in April 1981, released theatrically in the U.S. as The Craving in 1985, then released to video as The Craving, and more recently on DVD as Night of the Werewolf. It's very complicated. Shout Factory also released it on Blu-ray as part of their Paul Naschy collection set. The plot goes like this. In 16th century Hungary, a notorious werewolf is sentenced to be executed along with his satanic mistress, Elizabeth Bathory, and her coven of witches. Since he can't be killed, he's confined with a silver dagger through his heart and an iron mask affixed to his face to keep him from biting. Centuries later, the dagger is removed by 2 grave robbers, and the werewolf returns to life, inviting traveling college girls to stay at his castle, as you do. Then Bathory gets brought back to life, embarking on a vampiric rampage. The werewolf must face off against his former mistress and her vampire slaves to save his new love. My 5-word review is Vampires versus Werewolves Euro Horror Highlight. For me, this is an absolute dig, especially if you're a werewolf fan or if you enjoy Hammer horror, because it's really got that vibe. It was surprisingly good, and I really loved it.
But wait, there's more.
So while we are on the topic of werewolf horror, we're going to take 60 seconds, and we're going to try to briefly sell you on one underrated werewolf flick that you can go watch on Tubi right now that we think that you will love. All right, I am recommending to you The Company of Wolves. It is a 1984 British gothic fantasy horror film directed by Neil Jordan from a screenplay by Angela Carter. Carter and Jordan adapted it from her 1979 short story of the same name. This dark, dreamlike fairy tale is an intoxicating mix of horror, fantasy, and gothic folklore. Little Red Riding Hood reimagined as a nightmarish fever dream. A visual feast where innocence and desire collide in a surreal landscape dripping with eerie atmosphere. Grotesque and beautiful, it explores themes of coming of age, female agency, and the monstrous nature of desire. The Company of Wolves is poetic, unsettling, and one of the most unique werewolf films ever made. If you haven't seen it, fix that immediately.
Late Phases is a 2014 horror dark fantasy about a secluded community of retired people, think the villages, who are beset by lethal and ferocious attacks by an animal. It's a Glass Eye Pix production from Larry Fessenden, who is also in the movie. The main character, a veteran resident, takes up arms against the mysterious beast in a final act reminiscent of Silver Bullet, but with modern horror sensibilities. The fear of losing agency due to old age is definitely a prevalent theme. It is extremely gory and extremely ferocious.
My pick is the 2001 movie Brotherhood of the Wolf, which is a werewolf-adjacent movie set in 18th century France. In the movie, a famous hunter investigator and his partner are sent to investigate and kill the Beast of Gévaudan, which has been mysteriously murdering hundreds of people. Brotherhood is the second feature film by director Christophe Gans, who would seduce our very own Stephanie just a few years later with his film adaptation of Silent Hill. Brotherhood of the Wolf is a mix of genres, including action, martial arts, political intrigue, cults, and of course horror. Beautifully shot with a great cast and impressive effects, Brotherhood of the Wolf is a movie to add to your watch next list.
Untold endings.
Sweet. Okay, so now we are going to move on to our game portion of our episode. And we're going to play a quick game of Guess That Film, where each of us is going to provide a badly written logline for a well-known werewolf film. And we're going to try to guess what film is being described.
Let the games begin.
When group therapy fails, the wolves come out.
Oh, shit. Group therapy fails. I don't... Jamie, do you have a guess?
I'm trying to put the words together.
Oh, ready for the reveal?
Ready.
The Howling.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Good. That was good. A romantic camping trip goes south while a few good men discover they're no match for the bloodthirsty locals in this rousing barn burner.
And barn burner is a clue, I'm guessing.
Barn burner's a clue, as is a few good men. Let me know when you're ready for the reveal.
I'm ready anytime.
Dog
You're sticking me with
soldiers.
The romance goes south.
Oh, that's no fair.
It's supposed to be hard.
That's like the first 3 minutes of the movie, and that's it.
Well, the romantic camping trip goes south is the first. Yeah.
No man can keep this red wolf behind walls.
Ginger snaps.
Which one?
2.
Oh, yes.
3.
3.
3.
Oh,
The one
walls.
in
Yep.
medieval ages. Yeah.
My next one is greedy developers learn the consequences of stealing land from shapeshifters. This is actually one I got into an argument online with people in the Fangoria community about whether it's a werewolf movie or not.
Jamie, you have a guess?
No. None.
You stop me again.
1981's Wolfen.
Never seen that.
I haven't seen it either.
Oh,
Oh, no.
you got to correct that real quick.
All right. I got another one for you.
Okay.
Siblings survive a freak road accident only to discover their lives are about to get way more complicated as they battle homophobia, toxic masculinity, and messy love lives. If you're craving something different, this one's for you.
Cursed?
Ugh.
Yes. Good job. Do you have another one?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
You will freeze with fear and howl in terror. There's clues there.
I figured.
House of Frankenstein?
Think freeze and howl.
I don't know. I give up.
It is also a Waldemar Daninsky movie called The Werewolf and the Yeti.
I've
You
never heard of that one.
really dug deep on that one.
Yeah.
Wow. Oh, good one. I've never even heard of it. Patrick, do you have a third one?
I do.
Okay, let's hear it.
All right. Gypsy curses are a bitch, and now he's one too.
Well, I'm going to say that's easy and probably gets the wrong answer, so I'm just going to bow out of that one.
No, guess. What's your guess?
Well, I think it's the werewolf. The werewolf. Like, that sounds like the Greek curse and everything, right?
No.
I don't know,
Thinner.
Patrick.
The Wolfman, 1941.
Well, that's what I guessed. I just called it
Hell.
the werewolf.
Well, you can't just say, Jesus Christ, you can't be like, no, that's exactly what I guessed. I just said the wrong thing and you just didn't
just said
know
the
what I
wrong
would
thing.
meant. I don't know what's wrong with you.
Okay. Peanut Gallery. I'm not familiar with these old movies. And it's just, I was thinking of, I don't want the point for.
You say this old
Getting it
movies
right
like
or
it's some obscure movie from like, the
Some of the
1700s that
greatest
nobody's
horror
ever
movies
heard of.
made.
There's so many movies. I just
Yeah,
haven't
you should-
gotten to them yet.
You should watch the Universal Monsters. Like that's sort of a baseline of where you should watch. There's
Yeah.
not that many of them. There's so many movies. It's crazy. All right, I have another one for you. So I have two more. One I think is much easier than the other one. I'll do the one I think is a little easier first. All right. A small town's Halloween festivities are marred by rule breakers. Find out what happens when an innocent costume party turns into a treacherous night of girls gone wild. Oh,
Trick or
good. I
treat.
thought this was obvious. Yes, good. Good job.
I was just blanking on the title for a second. I just kept going, Sam. Like, that's not the name of the movie.
I
Well, just say some name, and then when I tell you it's wrong, then you can be like, no, what you said is what I meant. That's what I was saying, and you should have known
That's
that.
what I said.
I just said the wrong name, but that's exactly what I said, dummy.
I don't watch these newfangled horror movies you're talking about.
Yeah.
Or he doesn't watch new films and he doesn't watch old films. He watches somewhere in between. They have to be a medium old film. Jamie, do you have a third one?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Witness the erotic phantasmagoria of the third chapter in the... Sorry, I wrote too late now. Witness the erotic phantasmagoria of the third chapter in the Waldemar Didinsky saga. But, I mean, you can still guess what it is.
Howling 3?
This one is actually popular. A lot of people know about this one. Well, as popular as Paul Natschi can get.
I don't know. What is it?
The Werewolf versus the Vampire Women.
Oh. Yep.
All right. I know that we've done 3. I have a bonus pick if anyone would like to hear it.
Sure.
We'd love to hear it.
But I do. I'm going to give you a hint and a spoiler and say that it is outside of the traditional horror genre. So here you go. A high school nobody discovers the pros and cons of remarkable genetics, adolescent change, and the curse of popularity. Can he learn to find his authentic self and win in the end?
Teen Wolf.
Yes! Yay!
This has been Untold Horrors with Jamie, Steph, and Patrick. Thank you for listening. Until next time, watch more horror, explore more depths, and be excellent to each other. We'll see you on the other side.
Step toward the light.
All are welcome.
Are you okay?
Motherfucker, I am wonderful.
I'm sorry. Who are you talking to right now?